A new phase commences in the tumultuous marriage of Kody Brown and Robyn. Kody Brown seemed to have eliminated any lingering uncertainty. After years of pent-up rage, sorrow, and emotional distress, Kody has resolved to go from Robyn's residence and commence his new life there, rather than elsewhere. However, there is one significant alteration. This time, just Robyn's daughter, Aurora, will accompany Kody. Kody declared, "This time I refuse to be a pawn in anyone's agenda. I will reside in this house with Aurora." Robyn was incensed by the decision. He informed Kody, "You cannot continue residing in my house, Kody. I will contact the authorities and initiate your legal eviction." He further declared, "I have severed all ties with you. I am filing for divorce." This dispute between Robyn and Kody has escalated into a highly emotional moment for Sister Wives viewers. Is it feasible for Kody to commence a fresh life with Aurora? Will Robyn's difficult decision disrupt everything? Title: A House Divided, Kody and Robyn's Breaking Point. A profound silence had enveloped the Brown household for several days, but tonight it was shattered, loudly, conclusively, and irreversibly. Following years of emotional strain, insomnia, and unsuccessful attempts to preserve harmony, Kody Brown stood in the living room of Robyn's residence, his jaw tightened, eyes ignited not with fury, but with determination. He grasped a solitary duffel bag, emblematic of what he termed his freedom. Robyn stood at the opposite end, arms crossed, quaking with rage. Her eyes glistened with tears, although they were not the soft tears of sorrow. They were the volcanic, merciless tears of a woman scorned and finished. "I have made my decision, Robyn," Kody stated icily. "I have ceased to live for others. This residence is currently my home. However, not in your company. I am remaining here, with Aurora." Robyn's jaw dropped in astonishment. "In conjunction with Aurora? My offspring?" she uttered disdainfully. "Do you believe you can simply eliminate me from this household, from this family? This is my residence, Kody. You are exhibiting delusions." Aurora, positioned beside the stairs, remained immobile, conflicted between her allegiance to her mother and the peculiar, distorted sense of guardianship she harbored for Kody. Throughout the years, she observed Kody's decline, his trust shattered by the other spouses, his connections with his children fragmented like ash. Only her, during hushed dialogues and nocturnal emotional crises, had attended to him, comprehended him. She was the individual he selected to construct his new life around. "I am not soliciting your approval," Kody stated, his voice subdued. "Your animosity is evident. However, on this occasion, I shall not permit myself to be twisted or disregarded. Aurora and I comprehend one another. You cannot retain my daughter here, you madman," Robyn shrieked. "She is not your emotional support. She is not your spouse. She is my offspring. If you do not depart, I will contact the authorities." Kody remained unfazed. "Then summon them," he said. "However, I am not departing." The situation escalated into chaos. The paparazzi lingered near the guarded community. TLC cameras hastily sought authorization. Rumors proliferated on social media. Kody commenced conducting confessional-style interviews from the residence where the Brown family previously gathered for meals and recollections. He sat at the hearth, with Aurora occasionally seated silently in the background, his tone defensive yet resolute. "I endured years of being pushed in multiple directions, Christine's departure, Janelle's exclusion, and Mary's emotional absence despite her heartbreak. Robyn was the final individual. However, she also abandoned me in my time of need. Currently, it is solely I, Aurora. She is the sole individual who perceives me. I am not attempting to initiate anything unethical. I am endeavoring to reconstruct something genuine." In the meantime, Robyn reached out to her attorney. She promulgated an emergency eviction notice. She desired the return of her house, her daughter, restoration of her life. Aurora declined to accompany her. In a startling private interview, Aurora expressed her perspective. "People believe I am brainwashed. However, I am not. I have observed my mother exert influence over others as well. I am no longer a child. It may be detrimental to health. It may be perplexing. However, Kody requires companionship. I suppose I require companionship as well. Perhaps we are merely fractured individuals striving for survival. Robyn initiated divorce proceedings and sought full ownership of the property, citing emotional distress and alleging Kody's mental instability. Kody countered with his legal team, asserting claims for residency rights and emotional guardianship for Aurora, despite her being over 18. Supporters were left astonished. Forums ignited with discussions. Is Aurora secure? Has Kody transgressed an ethical boundary? Or is this merely an individual reconstructing his existence from the remnants? As the dust dissipates, cameras document Kody emerging onto the porch at twilight. Aurora stands adjacent to him, arms folded, expression inscrutable. Robyn's former residence now resembles a bastion of isolation. Is this the inception of a novel familial dynamic, or the disintegration of all that the Brown family has historically represented? Only time and the forthcoming tumultuous season of Sister Wives will reveal the outcome. Nevertheless, it was a tranquil Sunday morning in Flagstaff. The mountain air was invigorating, and the Brown family residences remained tranquil beneath the gentle early light. Mary sat cuddled on the couch with a warm mug of tea, gazing vacantly at the fireplace inside her house. Her heart was pulsating somewhat more rapidly than normal. She had anticipated this moment. Nevertheless, upon its arrival, she was uncertain of her emotions. Mariah, her sole daughter, had just disclosed a significant revelation that will alter everything. Last night, Mariah and her fiancé Audrey informed Mary of their significant decision to relocate, not only to a nearby area, but across the country to New York, where Mariah had received a distinguished leadership role in a nonprofit LGBTQ+ advocacy organization. Mary recalled Mariah's eyes radiating joy, Audrey grasping her hand firmly, both exuding pride and optimism. However, beyond Mary's courteous smile lay a tumult of feelings: pride, astonishment, anxiety, and a profound sorrow she was not prepared to acknowledge. "Mother, I understand the magnitude of this decision," Mariah spoke cautiously, "but it is the appropriate course of action for us. I finally feel as though I am engaging in an endeavor that resonates with my passions," Audrey remarked softly. "It is not permanent. However, this is essential for our development and future." Mary nodded, suppressing her tears. "I am exceedingly proud of you, dear. I truly am. However, New York is distant. What of familial gatherings, festive occasions, and the minutiae? We will ensure its success," Mariah reassured her. "This does not imply that I am abandoning you, merely opting for another route." As Mary sat solitary in the tranquil early morning, the fact became apparent. Her daughter, the one she had nurtured through the vicissitudes of poly-family life, the one she had relied upon during her most challenging times, was embarking on her own journey. Despite the pain, Mary recognized that this moment transcended mere relocation. It represented the extent of Mariah's development and the necessity for Mary's own growth. She rose and approached the window, observing the sun ascend gradually behind the crimson rocks. For years, she had battled for her identity as Kody's spouse, as a mother, and as an individual. Observing Mariah soar alone, Mary perceived a reflection of her own identity. Mary contacted Mariah. "Hello, Mother," Mariah responded with enthusiasm. Mary inhaled deeply. "I was contemplating. Once you are established in New York, I would be delighted to visit." "I have never thoroughly explored the city," Mariah said. "I would greatly appreciate that." "You would derive considerable enjoyment, Mother." Mary muttered, "I will miss you immensely." "I shall miss you as well," Mariah responded gently. "This is how we evolve collectively, despite our physical distance." Upon concluding the call, Mary sensed a transformation within her. The sorrow persisted, although an unusual tranquility also remained. Transformation was challenging. Nevertheless, it was also imperative. In that moment, Mary saw that, akin to Mariah, she was also in the process of becoming the woman she was destined to be. Perhaps, Perhaps the journey was merely commencing. Nonetheless, under the glaring studio lights and before the cameras, Kody Brown's wives congregated, their expressions cautious yet inquisitive. Mary, Robyn, Janelle, and Christine were present, their narratives prepared, their hearts burdened by years of affection, treachery, perplexity, and unexpressed emotions. Host Sukanya Krishnan inquired, "We have observed Kody's fluctuating focus and time allocation in recent years. Do any of you believe that envy influenced the changes that occurred?" That singular term, jealousy, lingered in the atmosphere like dense smoke. Christine was the initial individual to disrupt the hush. Her countenance was serene, yet her voice possessed gravitas. "I will not deceive. I experienced jealousy. I experienced anger. For years, I endeavored to repress it, convincing myself that polygamy signified sharing. However, it never felt like sharing. It resembled defeat. Each instance, Kody opted to extend his time with Robyn or prioritize her children's needs over ours harmed my emotional well-being." Robyn noticeably stiffened. "I never requested that he select me above the others," she stated, her voice quivering. "I simply desired a conventional relationship with my husband." "Is that an offense?" Janelle acquiesced with a deliberate nod. It transcended mere temporal considerations. It was an emotional presence. Kody was present while with Robyn. To the rest of us, it frequently seemed as though he was merely discharging an obligation. Mary exhaled deeply. Her voice was gentle, yet imbued with years of suffering. "I have experienced a prolonged sense of invisibility. Upon Robyn's arrival, I felt as though I had ceased to exist. I often reminded myself to exercise patience, believing that equilibrium would eventually be restored. However, they did not." Suddenly, Kody, who had remained silent, leaned forward. "I exerted my utmost effort," he stated in a defensive manner. "You all behave as though I deserted you, yet I was merely pursuing my passion. Robyn required my assistance. Her children required my assistance. I felt as though I was being drawn in numerous directions," Christine interjected. "We all required your presence, Kody. However, you only genuinely supported one of us." Tears brimmed in Robyn's eyes. "I am not the adversary," she stated. "I did not appropriate Kody. He selected his location." The atmosphere in the room had become palpable with tension. Sukanya redirected her attention to Mary once more. "Have you ever conveyed to Kody the profound impact that jealousy had on you?" Mary declined by shaking her head. "What would have been the purpose?" "Whenever I attempted to express my thoughts, I was advised to be more spiritual, submissive, and supportive. I was no longer a wife. I had become a peripheral figure in his existence." Kody averted his gaze, his hands tightly clenched. During the tell-all, he appeared at a loss for words for the first time. Janelle addressed Robyn, stating, "Robyn, while you may not have solicited Kody's favoritism, you also did not intervene to prevent it. You let the imbalance to escalate, resulting in consequences for us all." Robyn, wiping her tears, responded gently, "Perhaps I was fearful. I feared that if I did not grasp Kody firmly, I would lose him as well." This revelation rendered everyone momentarily speechless. As the program concluded, it became evident that jealousy had been a latent tempest simmering within each of the women for years. It was not solely about Kody's time. It encompassed the need for recognition, acknowledgement, and appreciation. For the first time, they collectively acknowledged what they had long concealed before the public. The jealousy did not precipitate their downfall. It was indicative of a love that had ceased to be reciprocated. Nevertheless, the Brown family had not convened in this manner for several months. Following extensive emotional upheaval, fluctuating relationships, and prolonged, strained silences, it seemed peculiar, but invigorating, to have everyone gathered in one place. Robyn reluctantly consented to hold a family healing night at her residence. However, the most significant surprise of the evening was not the cuisine or the unexpected appearance of Mary, Janelle, and Christine, but perhaps Kody. Kody Brown, formerly the vibrant and esteemed father of the family, has exhibited a more subdued demeanor in recent months. However, this evening, he had an unforeseen agenda. An unforeseen occurrence. While everyone conversed in the living room, Christine engaging with Aurora, Mary alone with her lemonade, and Robyn anxiously inspecting the table arrangements, Kody rose and cleared his throat. "I have an announcement to make," he declared, clapping his fists. The chamber fell silent. "I acknowledge that I have not fulfilled the expectations you all had of me. I have erred and lost focus on what is significant. However, this evening, I wish to remind us of our former selves. I wish to remind myself as well." He paused, his gaze surveying the room. "I will accomplish this in an unforeseen manner." The illumination diminished. A gentle country melody commenced playing through the speakers. Subsequently, initially, everyone perceived it as a jest, an awkward paternal routine. However, Kody was earnest. He had devised a choreography, nor flawless, nor ostentatious, but sincere. Each movement, each rotation, each theatrical flourish of his leather jacket appeared to convey his remorse, his yearning, and, paradoxically, his optimism. The song was one he and the spouses danced to during their early romance years, Forever and Always, by an obscure indie country artist they all cherished. The lyrics permeated the atmosphere. Amidst tribulations, sorrow, and diminished aspirations, it appears that love can indeed return. As Kody progressed, his daughters initially laughed, then became silent. Christine gazed, uncertain whether to express amusement or sorrow. Janelle's austere demeanor relaxed. Even Robyn shed a tear. And Mary? She leaned forward, grasping her necklace, emotions surging over her like a tide. As the song concluded, Kody remained motionless at the center of the room, perspiring, gasping for breath, yet inexplicably serene. "I am aware that my dancing abilities have diminished," he remarked with a chuckle. "I merely intended to demonstrate my willingness to make an effort. Not intended for control, not for the sake of pride, however, for the purpose of healing." Subsequently, Christine applauded gently. Subsequently accompanied by Janelle. Subsequently, Mary. Even Aurora rose and applauded. Robyn approached Kody and embraced him firmly, murmuring, "That was courageous." After several years, the Brown family shared laughter once more. They conversed, exchanged reminiscences, and engaged in a brief dance. Kody's clumsy yet fervent performance had unexpectedly facilitated a breakthrough in social interaction. Later that evening, seated outdoors among the stars, Mary gazed at Kody and remarked, "You remain irrational." He exhibited a smile. Affirmative. However, perhaps little less disoriented. Nonetheless, in the center of Flagstaff, the Brown family was embarking on a new phase of transformation. The atmosphere had been fraught for months, betrayed trust, diminishing affection, and aspirations that had disintegrated into reality. Amidst the turmoil, an unexpected camaraderie was subtly developing among the sister wives. Mary, Janelle, Christine, and Robyn have invested years in striving to achieve equilibrium between their marriages to Kody and their interpersonal connections. Jealousy, miscommunication, and anguish frequently maintain their distance. However, a recent change has occurred. As Kody became progressively estranged, the ladies began to unite, not in rivalry but in solidarity. The initiation occurred with a subtle, understated communication in their group conversation. Christine, having already departed from the marriage, sent a text. "I acknowledge the current circumstances are unusual, but I would appreciate it if we could gather for tea. The purpose is to converse, without discussing Kody unless it arises naturally. It will be solely about us." To her astonishment, all concurred. The subsequent Saturday, all four women convened at Christine's inviting residence. The first atmosphere was uncomfortable. Robyn remained tense, Mary anxiously sipped from her cup, and Janelle fidgeted with her scarf. Christine disrupted the silence. "We have endured numerous challenges. We have contested over a single individual for an excessive duration. Although our trajectories have diverged, I believe we have a responsibility to mutually support one another, woman to woman, mother to mother, sister to sister. For the first time in an extended period, Robyn acquiesced. I long for this. I long for conversations. I acknowledge that I have not consistently facilitated ease. Mary's eyes became teary. None of us possess. However, we may commence anew. Kody was unprepared for what followed. Upon visiting Christine's residence to meet Truly, he was astonished to discover all 4 women gathered, laughing, making cookies, and reminiscing about the past. What is occurring here? He inquired, mostly in jest and partially in self-defense. We are simply supporting one another, Janelle responded with a shrug. You need not be the focal point of every narrative, Kody. It pained him, although he recognized that this was beyond his influence. The wives, formerly segregated, were ultimately discovering strength in their solidarity. In the ensuing weeks, the sister wives commenced providing each other with significant support. Mary and Robyn initiated a podcast titled Healing Together, in which they discussed their experiences with plural marriage, motherhood, and personal development. Janelle assisted Christine with her nutrition enterprise and occasionally cared for Truly when necessary. Christine provided emotional support to Mary, who was managing life without of Kody's adoration while ultimately discovering self-love. It was not flawless. There were instances of discord, recollections of past grievances, and disputes regarding limits. However, on this occasion, they confronted the discomfort collectively, not as adversaries, but as women asserting their empowerment. 1 year later, the 4 ladies coordinated a retreat for other women in polygamous or mixed homes. It was designated as the Sister Wives Support Circle. Women traveled from throughout Utah, Arizona, and even Canada, some inquisitive, some wounded, many fractured. Mary commenced the occasion with an earnest address. We were previously characterized by a singular individual. We now delineate our identity. This is not intended to undermine anyone. It pertains to uplifting one another, Christine remarked with a smile. Support does not necessitate consensus on all matters. It signifies remaining present under challenging circumstances and relinquishing when it is time to evolve. The Brown family underwent irrevocable transformation. Certain connections had been terminated. Others have been cured. However, the most significant development occurred not in their marriages, but in the sisterhood they reconstructed from the remnants of collective sorrow. They had transcended the role of sister wives. They were resilient individuals who endured. Supporters, friends, and family, selected by choice rather than just circumstance. Nonetheless, an aerial view of Flagstaff gradually appears on the screen. The mountains remain still, yet unrest brews within the Brown family's realm. In this dramatic episode of Sister Wives, past grievances resurface, alliances realign, and one wife makes a startling choice that may irrevocably alter the family dynamic. Janelle is seated beside Christine at a quaint neighborhood cafe. The 2 women, formerly discreetly supportive, have emerged as the most compelling voices of reason. I can no longer feign that we are a cohesive and content family, Janelle states, gently swirling her tea. Kody has not visited my residence in weeks. It feels as though we are now unfamiliar to one another. Christine affirms with a nod. I am aware of my actions, Janelle. You may also depart. The sensation of freedom is pleasurable. Janelle gazes downward. I am contemplating it. What if departing fractures the remaining fragment of our family? Mary traverses her property in solitude, conversing with the camera. I continually aspire for Kody to recognize me once more, not merely to acknowledge my presence, but to select me. However, each day it becomes increasingly silent. No telephone communications. No written content available. Only silence. The filmmakers present a clip of Mary messaging Kody. Can we converse this evening? Without a response. Her eyes fill with tears. I am uncertain of my continued involvement in this marriage. Kody paces in Robyn's residence while she massages her temples. The mood is laden with frustration. They fail to comprehend my experiences. Kody becomes irate. Robyn interrupts. Kody, you have been aloof from everyone. They are injured. He scowls at her. What concerns me, Robyn? I have sacrificed everything. Robyn, her voice quavering, states, "You cannot anticipate their allegiance if they no longer feel cherished." The entire family convenes at Coyote Pass for the first time in several months. The tension is palpable. No one exhibits a smile. Kody initiates the conversation. "This family is disintegrating. I cannot rectify the situation if you continue to withdraw." Christine replies with indifference. "You had the opportunity to maintain composure. You selected Robyn." Janelle interjects. "We do not hold Robyn accountable. We attribute the issue to favoritism, the quietude, the void." Mary attempts to articulate her thoughts but succumbs to emotional distress. "I am uncertain of my significance at this point." As the meeting appears to conclude, Christine rises and gazes at Janelle. "I purchased a small parcel of land on the outskirts of town," she states. "Multiple residences can coexist. Anyone wishing to escape this turmoil is welcome." Janelle is astonished. Robyn appears to feel deceived. Kody is enraged. "You are attempting to shatter what remains," he exclaims. Christine responds composedly, "It is already damaged, Kody. I am only creating space for recovery." As the crowd departs in silence, a camera captures Mary standing solitary at the property's periphery, gazing out over the expanse of land. "I believed that being a sister wife signified permanence," she murmurs. "However, perhaps eternity manifests differently for each of us." In the upcoming episode of Sister Wives, a new woman joins Kody's life. Is this the commencement of a novel chapter or the definitive conclusion? Greetings, esteemed viewers. Welcome to my channel. I am Sabrina, and I hope your day is going splendidly. If you like the video, please remember to subscribe to the channel.